Scoop may also be wondering how protein powders fit into this mix. These powders can be made from either plants or meats, though whey is the most commonly used. I personally have whey protein. Protein powders do not replace a well-balanced diet and should be considered a supplement. Let me read that again. Protein powders do not replace a well-balanced diet and should be considered a supplement, not a replacement. Protein powders, however, can be very useful for those with higher protein needs, said Swisher. This can include not only people who are trying to gain muscle, but people with cancer or those who have had bariatric surgery, he explained. Protein powders are a processed food, so you're always better getting your protein from a whole food source because it's never a good idea to overdo it with a chemically created food, Cohen said. That said, high-quality protein powders can be included as part of a healthy diet to fill in gaps. Look for products with a few ingredients as possible and limit the added sugar or chemicals, said Cohen. My daily goal for protein is 240 grams of protein. Now, regardless if I get all of that in or not, that is my goal. So, how did I get that number? Well, if you download my new ebook, How Many Calories Should I Eat? It's a guide with resources within to find your daily caloric and macro intake. And once I found my macro intake, and one of the macros is protein, that's how I found out that I needed 240 grams of protein. Now, how do I get 240 grams in? So I've been looking for a protein powder that had at least 25 grams of protein in per scoop. And you have to really watch the labels when it comes to these protein powders and just check everything. It is a serving or scoop. Make sure you try to get something that's at least 25 grams per scoop and make sure they try to fill it to the top. But long story short, I found this brand Muscle Milk, and it's been, maybe I'm just now getting turned on to it, but 25 grams per scoop. I have chocolate and I have vanilla. I also have these Premier protein shakes. They're 30 grams per shake. These are, pre-made, right? So with that being said, once I consume both of them, I can get, 80 grams of protein in, right? I just did a podcast last week about how much your body can digest, how much protein your body can digest in one sitting, to give you more clarity on why I'm trying to take so much and if that's good for me or not. But anywho, if I can get 2 of those 80-gram shakes in, or within, a couple sittings or whatever, I'm at 160. And since I need 240, now I have 80 left to get, right? So just with that being said, that's when, as far as for me, when I go to, eat a steak or some salmon or chicken or eggs, somewhere around that. And of course, I'm eating vegetables with it. Of course, I'm drinking vegetables with it because I'm juicing, still, I'm every single day, I still drink at least 32 ounces of fresh pressed juice, which contains vegetables and fruit. So I may not be getting all my fiber through there, but I have some supplements to substitute for that. So which is better for weight loss? If your goal is not to gain muscle, but instead to lose weight, you might take a different approach to your protein consumption. Relying on plant-based, carbohydrate-based protein sources makes it hard for vegetarians to lose weight, said Cohen. This is because you need to eat more of the carb-heavy plants to get the same amount of protein as from meat, and those carbs contain calories. People switching to this diet are often surprised when they start to gain weight, said Cohen, but some plant-based proteins will help you achieve your weight loss goals better than others. If your goal is weight loss, be mindful of portion sizes for starchier or high-calorie plant proteins like beans and nuts and seeds, Cohen said. Lentils have the highest amount of protein compared to other legumes, so they are a very efficient protein source in a reasonable serving size, as is edamame. I don't know how to pronounce that word. I've never had it too. And you get lots of fiber to boot, she advised. You're also better served consuming whole food for your protein needs as opposed to processed foods to avoid ingredients that wouldn't align with your goals. So this is very important because this visualization, plant-based this and plant-based that, and it's always coincided with somebody who's in top fit shape, right?